What's up, folks? Thanks for joining us. It's Tim and the Mechanic. Thanks for joining us. My name is Tim Wheaton, joined as always by Brandon the Mechanic Cuttino. Brandon, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, man. It's always good to be back talking some kickboxing with you, man. It's been a while. Hopefully the holidays was good for you and your family.
Oh, thank you very much. And you had a good time? Good holidays with your family as well?
Yes, sir.
We're back. We're talking kickboxing, and some news has developed over the last little while in the kickboxing world. It's always great because a lot of, I talk about MMA all day. I'm on this show and I talk MMA, and then I'm on another show and I'm talking MMA. No one has any idea what the hell I'm talking about when I get into kickboxing. And we've had some of the biggest news of the last couple years in kickboxing really come out in the last few weeks when you and I were taking a little hiatus there. So Let's just jump right into it. If you're ready, I'm ready, Mr. Cuttino.
Always ready to talk kickboxing.
The Cold War is over. We finally made it. The super fight has been set. K1 and RIZIN has sat down and somehow come to an agreement over their huge superstars. Tenshin Nasukawa versus Takeru Segawalater have finally... They've been fighting in the same weight class. They've been fighting in the same city, but they're under different organizations and they haven't met. Both are on a 30-fight win streak. Both are pound for pound number one versus number two. At least they were a few years ago, and we'll get to that kind of fun stuff. It's not fully agreed on what institution it will be under. This might be like Pride fighting, where Pride 1 was founded on we got some guy versus some other guy, so we need to make a new institution. And it sounds like it might be something like that. I don't think it'll be under either, but we finally made it. We're here, and this will be Tenshin's last fight before going to boxing. There's a ton of things to pull apart on this. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Hey, man, I'm actually just happy that it's happening. This is what we want as fight fans. We want the best fight and the best, and now we're going to be able to see it. So, it kind of stinks that this is supposedly going to be Tenshin's last kickboxing fight, before he moves on to boxing. But hey, at least he picked a good one to go out, as his finale in kickboxing.
It's the right fight to make. And I feel like this was, since it was when RIZIN booked the Tokyo Dome in 2020, I thought, okay, this is it. Clearly, this is going to be the Takeru fight. They said, we're doing the Tokyo Dome, and Tenshin Nasukawa is going to be headlining. And I thought, yeah, this is it. They have to be doing it. Why else would you even book the Tokyo Dome? And then they had Tenshin fight in 3 different guys in a exhibition boxing match, and that kind of sounds stupid. And then they had Tenshin just a couple weeks ago fight in a exhibition match against Takanori Gomi. And Gomi is definitely not in his prime, and he hasn't been in his prime for 12 years. And he does outsize Tenshin by quite a bit. And honestly, Takanori Gomi may have won that exhibition boxing match. However, we finally made it. I feel like over the last couple of years, though, Tenshin has just been fighting exhibition boxing matches. He hasn't really been engaged in the kickboxing world, whereas Takeru has racked up more titles. He's like a 3-division champion in his organization in K1, and he's been knocking out champions every step of the way. He fought in 2020, he fought in 2021, he fought a couple times in 2019. He's been active in the sport. I don't want to get ahead of myself a little bit, but I'm really team Takeru here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think Tenshin is kind of just getting ready for his next stage, which is boxing, which is why I think he had the boxing thing with Gomi. It was just strictly stand-up things, just supposed to be boxing as well. And he had the exhibition with Floyd Mayweather and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just. I mean, one, it could be that, hey, maybe it's just him, but maybe that exhibition with Floyd Mayweather maybe gave him that taste of, man, this is how big somebody can go, because you got Mayweather coming all the way from the United States to the Tokyo Dome, selling this place out. People are coming to see him, and he's just thinking maybe this is my future right here. And now I think he's just getting ready to, for that next stage. And I think he just wants to do maybe one more good kickboxing fight and just go out, because it's what the people want. And I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be a major, major payday. And I tell guys, this is prize fighting. You want to get that big prize.
I wish it seems like it's overdue. This is so much in the kickboxing world where we always use such big language in combat sports, but this is really like Manny and Floyd. This is really like the fight we have been waiting for. It has an entry on Wikipedia because of how big this fight actually is. Nothing's quite booked yet on terms of I think it's supposed to be April of next year, March or April or something like that. April. We don't have a venue set. I'm going to guess it's at least Saitama or the Tokyo Dome, considering how big it is. And no organization yet. Probably just call it some new name. But if you're Nobuyuki Sakakibara, the CEO of RIZIN, and he worked in Pride before. This is going back to something that I've questioned for years, and I remember talking about it with friends of mine who don't watch kickboxing, don't watch MMA, but they knew about this thing happening. Why would you take your biggest star to get beat up by Floyd Mayweather? Like, what? It still doesn't make sense. It's been 4 years, and I still don't get it.
Well, I mean, I think it's because one, you knew it was an exhibition. Two, you knew Mayweather outweighed him. Mayweather's the greatness. I don't think there was a lose. I don't think there was a lose for him, because it's like, well, you're going up against Mayweather, and plus two, he outweighs you. You know, so it's not like it was a legit thing. Like say, it was an exhibition. So I like say, I think I want to say, like say, I think like say in Japan, America, or North America, in Japan, they have two different thought processes. And like I said, man, it works for them in Japan. You know, to me, it makes you a bigger star, because again, you're getting your name out with Floyd Mayweather, who basically was the biggest name in all of combat sports. Yeah. You know, so I think we still talk about it to this day about that. So to me, he's still getting his shine from that. You know.
He's most recognizable not because of his amazing like one knee knockouts or his amazing like first few second knockouts that he's had while competing in RIZIN. It's like we're still talking about the Floyd Mayweather fight, like you said. We're still on about that. It's like it's such a good weight class. It is such a good weight class. Rodtang is also competing in this weight class, and the three of them competing in the same weight class. It's a shame that we haven't got more of them competing, but yes, so we finally get this fight, and it's an amazing time. I'm so excited for this one. We're going to be breaking it down as we get closer down to April. Before we move on to the next subject, anything else we wanted to cover off on Tenshin and Takeru?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you brought him up, but Rodtang, he said he wants next. He wants the winner. So
let's do it.
So I'm saying, so maybe one might get in. You know, they might get into the mix with this. You know, they might loan him out. We'll see.
So the first time, Rodtang and Tenshin fought once before, and they fought to a draw, and then they went to one extension round, and a lot of fans were like, man, Rodtang clearly won. I don't know. I think Tenshin winning that extension round was completely fair, but we're going to get smoked in the comments if I say that. So people are just like, man, it was in Japan, so the judge is going to give it to him. Yeah. I don't know. Tenshin looked fine. I thought Tenshin maybe landed the more effective strikes in that extension round, but both of them were like 20 years old at the time. It's crazy to think that how young these guys are. Takeru is the eldest of them, and he's 28, 29. Tenshin's like 24. Rodtang's like 23 or something like that. These guys could fight a trilogy, arguably, over 15 years. I mean, I don't want that, but maybe a trilogy in 3 years would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rodtang next. Bring it on. I love Rodtang. He's one of the most exciting competitors in the entire combat sports scene, I would argue.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's move forward. So we have some... Glory is out here, and they're making some moves. It's like they had one announcement on one side that they knew wouldn't be received well, so they stacked it with another announcement that they knew would be received very well. So they made sure that these announcements came out at the same time, so one kind of got buried. But they said recently that they will not be doing shows in the Netherlands for the foreseeable future due to new anti-doping policies in the Netherlands that any athletes who are caught using performance-enhancing drugs will be suspended for 4 years. The vice president of Glory said, because what if one of our stars, I'm not laying a hand on anyone, gets caught and isn't allowed to fight for 4 years? What would we do? Now, this has to do with previously, Glory was using an organization, we were finding the ITS, and the Dutch government is saying that you have to switch to this other organization, and this organization uses more Olympic style testing, and Glory's kind of saying, no, we're a private organization. If we don't want to test our athletes we are testing our athletes using a different organization, we don't want to. This new organization would suspend them for 4 years. Now, there has been Dutch athletes who got caught, or not Dutch athletes, sorry. There has been kickboxing athletes in Glory who got caught using performance-enhancing drugs, most famously Badahari, Hezi Georges, a few other guys. No one's been caught since 2019, and I will also point out that no one Dutch has ever been caught using performance-enhancing drugs in Glory. Maybe that's neither here nor there, but it's been a few years since we've seen anybody. I don't know. I'm never the type to just do the eye test on fighters using PEDs. Mm-hmm. But guys like Rico and Alistair Overeem in the last month, they look good. Anyway, what do you think of the situation?
I mean, I get it. Like I get where Scott Rudman's from. Like saying Scott Rudman, to me, what I got from it was hey, I'm not against testing. I'm not against, like, I'm here for a clean sport. I think the problem is he has a problem with the penalty. He wants it to just be 2 years, which is what they've been doing, instead of it being 4 years. And this is for a first-time offense. So your first-time offense, you're automatically getting 4 years. And plus, I think like his wording was basically like, what if they make a mistake? Which we've seen, you know, we talk about MMA and everything like that. You might get a tainted supplement, you know, somehow, and then boom, you're gone for 4 years, and it wasn't even your fault. It was a tainted supplement. You know, instead of you being out for 2, now you're out for 4. That's 4 years, and we know, especially in kickboxing, man, you got to get it going. You know, so I really think that's what Scott Ruttman's ideal is. To me, like I say, I know a lot of people kind of like, you know, they're kind of trying to take shots at him, trying to say that you know, he's trying to cover for like Overeem, you know, so that way, you know, we can get Uberine back out here and stuff like that. But to me, like I said, I just think it as he just says, I don't want the penalty to be 4 years. I want it to be 2 years, because again, these people are talking about Olympics. When you're an Olympian, you miss 4 years, you're basically in your cycle for the Olympics. While here in kickboxing, it's nonstop. It's all going. You know, you're trying to have 3 to 4 fights in a year. So I'm saying, so you're going 4 years. That's basically 12 fights that you're missing, you know? So I think that's what you're saying. While you go 2 years, that's, you know, 6 fights, you know, maybe 8 fights that you're missing. But except, you know, some people like a champion, you only fight maybe once or 2 times a year anyway. So it kind of might not be that big of a deal. But again, I understand where, to me, he's coming from. He's trying to say 2 years instead of 4, which I kind of agree, especially one time. Like, all right, 2 times. Hey, all right, maybe we'll do 4 times, you know, 4 years, stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, they have a company that they have been working with, he said, for years. So basically, I'm saying you would have to fire them and then get with this other company. They have a good relationship with this company, and they want to keep it going. So I don't blame them. I see where it is. My only thing is, now, if you're not going to do shows in the Netherlands, where are you going? I remember I had tweeted out to one of the Dutch reporters, and I kind of said, oh, hey, is France going to be the new hotspot? But I haven't heard back, because I know France used to be one of their hotspots. Also too, I mean, which is next to the Netherlands. They could maybe go to
Belgium.
What's the company?
Belgium?
What's the country? Belgium. Yes, Belgium. Yeah. Belgium is right there. You know, so I mean, I just haven't heard back on what's their plan is on if the Netherlands is going to be the hotspot. Where are they going to go?
And I've wondered that too. So there's a couple of things there. So 4 years suspension, I do agree, is a little bit unfair. It's a little bit too harsh, considering when we compare it to stateside suspensions, that you had to get caught multiple times for you to get a 4-year suspension. And we're talking about guys, the only guys in like stateside who were getting 4-year suspensions were Nick Diaz, which was holy, like that was like because he didn't show up to the conferences and stuff. Yeah. Like he like screwed around with them. And John Jones was even able to negotiate backwards. So 4-year suspensions are pretty rare in sports, and they are a little bit harsh, especially with athletes. Like, you might have tainted supplements. Now, even with their previous organizations, the ITS, the ITA, depending on which translation we're looking at, someone like Hesdy Georges was suspended, and they lifted it just because like they realized, like, oh, we can't repeat these results. We can't do it again, or whatever it was. So even Hesdy Georges was given he's fine. Yeah. PEDs are a tough one anyway, because I've heard the argument, especially in combat sports, that like, man, you use all the PEDs you want. That's fine. That's not my stance. I know some of the best K1 and Pride Fighting specifically said, like, we don't do performance enhancing drug testing. That's just not something that we're into here. That's not my stance, because with PEDs, if you do it in other sports like baseball, you're going to hit a ball a bit farther. Cool. Great. Good job. In combat sports, you're hitting a guy's skull harder. That's a big difference. So I do think we should be hard on PEDs, but it's more, 4 years is a little bit much. I do agree with you. If they do it somewhere else in Europe, maybe that'll be healthy for the company, because they have had they're so deeply entrenched in the Dutch market.
Yeah.
That maybe going elsewhere would be healthy for them, but also those are your fans. It's like Strikeforce leaving San Jose or the WEC leaving Southern California. Maybe you don't actually have as many fans as you think once you leave home. Once you go to Belgium, which is a 20-minute drive away, maybe you go to France, which is just like in a couple hours away. Maybe you can't film an arena there or something like that. but maybe that's a reason to go outside. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, actually, as we were just talking, I was just thinking of another place to me that's a booming market that has been dying for Glory to come back, but Glory hasn't. And they had a couple of fighters from that area, and that's England, London area. Like, Jamie Bates, he was on the rise until the pandemic happened. So he hasn't fought since then in Glory and everything like that. But to me, England could be a good spot again. Just like the Netherlands, a good amount of you do speak English there, so you don't have to worry about translations or anything like that. Maybe England could be a hot spot. But I just remember the reason why France was the first place that I said was because I just remember when they used to always do their traveling. France came up at least 2-3 times a year, just like the Netherlands. They came up like the same amount of times. So that's why I just thought France. But then I just came to Belgium because I'm like, well, Belgium's right there. It's the next country over. So that's why to me they would just want to maybe stay close. But then I said, hey, maybe they want to get another area booming. So then that way, they would maybe go to England again.
Well, yeah, they've done it. Yeah, like you said, they've done multiple shows like Paris, Lyon, France, Dusseldorf, Germany. And now I know I don't want people to get the idea of like, oh, you guys are from the West. You have no idea how close European countries are. When I was in the Netherlands, we would drive to Belgium to get gas because it was cheaper there. That's how close these two countries are.
Yeah.
It's not even a special thing. Like he was like, I'm going to Belgium. And I was like, this is like a moment in my life. And he was like, oh, we're just like getting groceries. It's not that big of a deal. It's like there's states, the U.S. states are way further apart than Netherlands and Belgium are. So I see that as a reasonable idea, but it definitely also looks shady if they're like, okay, so if you're competing in the Netherlands, these are the punishment. And then Glory comes back and says, oh, we'll just go down the block. It feels a little bit disingenuous. It looks shady, and it's being shady in a very direct way, isn't it? Doesn't it feel a little bit like clearly you're just trying to avoid this responsibility? But I still agree with Glory here. I think Glory is in the right. The 4 years is far too long.
Yeah, because I mean, even Skyrim he basically says like there are things that we agree with, and then there are things that we just don't agree with them. So to me, it felt like say we agree with testing fighters, we just don't agree with the penalty time, which is 4 years. So that's what I'm saying. I get it. Like you think about, hey, like I said, we are a kickboxing show, but hey, sometimes we still mix and blend with MMA, But hey, you look at UFC, they got their own people, USADA and everything like that, that's their people that they use. So Glory has their people that they use. So I kind of just see that's the same thing as instead of them using, the athletic commission or the state board, the Dutch combat sports, board, wherever, I can't remember their exact name, but they want to use their own people because again, they have a working relationship. They have done well with them. It's just like how how Glory switched from ISKA to now Waco. You switch from one to the other. To me, it's the same thing here. They just want to keep the same company. It's like people in boxing who use VADA and WADA, Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I forget what the exact difference are, but I remember them being extremely close together and like a very small difference between the two. But yeah, it seems like there seems like we can find a middle ground here to work with of like, okay, so we all agree that drug testing needs to be done here. We all agree on that. Therefore, we should be able to work together and find like a nice middle ground. But yeah, competing elsewhere in Europe, not a bad idea at all. Do another show in England. They've done like 1 or 2 in England before. Do another show. Do a bunch more in France and especially Belgium. I think those are absolutely fine. I love the idea. Do you think some of these guys could... I assume that the ITS, and I could be wrong, and now if someone knows better than me, I tried to find information on it, but I couldn't find anything. Does the ITA or ITS do blood testing, such as what we see in USADA and the Olympic style drug testing, or does the style that the Dutch does the style that Glory use just is urine testing? Because it's a massive difference between those two, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I actually don't know what the answer is if fighters are currently being drug tested. And I will argue that also USADA is a little bit imperfect. Like, cool. Like we got Nate Diaz getting caught. Oh, a day later, he's clear. Sure. Good. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's some shady stuff here and there. You've been drug tested in your career?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just a urine test. I mean, usually when you do your medicals, you do get blood, but they only ask for certain things. They don't do your blood for, all the drug testing, but usually with just drug testing, it was just the urine.
Yeah. And I think so when I did amateur boxing a decade ago, it came from my own pocket. So for $10, I don't know how much they're actually testing for. I don't know how many PEDs you're actually testing, but it's clear I wasn't doing PEDs 10 years ago. Today, though, if someone offered me some PEDs, oh boy, I'm signing up. That is good. We also had Glory Rivals being announced. Now, this is huge news that Glory will begin working with other kickboxing organizations. They're saying maybe champions versus champions, maybe contenders versus contenders, but Glory Rivals. So they're working with RISE in Japan, and they will be competing with Enfusion in Europe. And I absolutely love this news. I think this is absolutely fantastic. There's some good sides to it. There's some bad sides to it. We'll start with the bad sides just to get out of the way. In MMA, when we saw this kind of idea of like organizations will work together, this was WAMA like 12 years ago with Fedor Emelianenko. And I think it was K1 and Affliction and Elite XC. And ultimately, none of that really panned out. None of it went elsewhere. But as we see this time, I think they're in a position. When we saw co-promotion in MMA, it was tend to be M1 with Bellator, and now we see a little bit more with RIZIN and Bellator. And it mostly comes from neither of us are doing extremely well, so we'll work together. Because maybe I'll take out some of your fans, maybe you can take some of our fans, because we all need a little bit of help. And I think Glory, RISE, and Enfusion are kind of all in that same boat, where like the sport of kickboxing needs to be brought up as a whole. If we're cutting each other down, none of us are growing, and none of us are growing the sport. I think this is a fantastic move. What do you think of Rivals?
Hey man, I love it. I'm all about it. When I first saw it, I remember just straight saying to you like, oh, this is definitely something we're going to be talking about on the show, because I think this is big news. To me, I think Glory. To me, I really want to say this probably was a Glory idea, or at least to me, I think this will be better than how it was with MMA, because remember, just last year wasn't it early December where Petch went over to Rise, and he fought their champion, and they said after that, oh, we plan on doing this again, having Petch come back. So to me, I think that could be where it started from, So I think we will get good fights. I don't think we're going to get bad fights. I don't think it's going to be here and there. I think it's going to be good stuff, because like I said, you already had your champion go over there. It's one thing to let some fighter go over there, be like, oh, this person's from Glory or this person's from Rise. But when you let your champion go over there, that's saying something.
I completely agree. I think it's a great thing. I absolutely love that. There's a lot of there's some good potential matchups that they can have, and when we compared the three organizations, there's actually only a few weight classes where they really match up. But we have one organization that kind of focuses on the Netherlands and Northern Europe. Enfusion is kind of all over the place in Europe, isn't it? Like it does like Spain, it does Dublin, it does Turkey, like it does everywhere in Europe, kind of.
That's why kind of with our last subject that we were talking about the Netherlands, I was a little worried about like, oh, is this going to be in trouble? But then I thought to myself, I'm like, wait, Enfusion has been traveling a little bit more, because usually yes, they do shows in the Netherlands, but they have been training like actually another spot where they kind of have been going a lot lately is actually Abu Dhabi. So
that's a great idea.
So I mean, it could be because I remember them saying when this first came out, they said, hey, I think their first show will be in May. So that's when I'm just like, well, all right, it won't be in the Netherlands, so then it must be somewhere else. So like I said, it could be Abu Dhabi, or it could be somewhere else in Europe. Because like I said, because Enfusion does have a good amount of fighters all over the place, and they do travel all over the place.
I honestly, I completely agree with you. I think Abu Dhabi is a great shout. You can always get a good crowd there. It's a great fight city, and it's kind of like an international. It's like going to the World's Fair or something like that. It's a very international city where there's tons of everybody from no matter what country they're from. It's a great fight city, and like it's actually a big surprise as well. But they have had a good history with the martial arts community, because keep in mind that's where the ADCC's Mundials is competed, and it's been there for 20 years. So the greatest jiu-jitsu in the world has competed in Abu Dhabi. Now it's like the UFC goes there 2 or 3 times a year and has really grown the sport. Abu Dhabi is a great shout. We could do kickboxing in Abu Dhabi. I would be just absolutely great stuff there. I co-sign all over that.
And like I said, Enfusion has done several shows over there. So I mean, they already have a following over there, and then plus I'm saying you're gonna add some Glory in there. I mean, hey, I could definitely see a Rico Verhoeven going over there, with somebody in Enfusion and everything like that, So it could be a good time over there.
Yeah, I guess the most important part is there's money there. And I think these organizations, all three of them, could use a little, an injection of money, if you will.
Yeah.
Where did Tyson Fury fight? Was that Saudi Arabia, or am I thinking of?
No, you're thinking of Anthony Joshua. He fought in Saudi.
He fought in Saudi.
Yeah, him and Andy Ruiz fought in their second fight. I believe was that Saudi Arabia.
There's so much. Yeah, it's kind of it's down the block. But yeah, I think that's a great place. So I put it together here of what weight classes do these organizations, the three of them, actually line up? Because a lot of them don't match up. For example, like heavyweight, Rico Verhoeven. The other two have vacant heavyweights, light heavyweight, middleweight. A lot of these organizations don't have weight classes that match up perfectly. It seems like it won't just be champion versus champion. It'll probably also be top contenders competing against each other, which is great to see. So I did a couple here. In the we'll start with the really good ones. At 65 kilograms, Petch in Rise could fight their champion, Kosei Yamada. Kosei Yamada is a very karate style, heavy on leg attacks. The thing is, Petch is just better than. I think he's the best in his weight class. He's not, he's not losing to anybody there. I think he just styles on him. You know what I mean? Petch could also fight in Enfusion against Sufyan Tedori, who's a very powerful outside striker. Again, this is you could do Petch and could fight both of them in the same night, probably.
Yeah. Hey man, good. Yeah, you could. You can make it like a little mini tournament with three people, but you get a fourth person in there somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. So all three of them have the 65 kilogram weight class. At 85 kilograms, Donovan Weiss could fight Muhammad. I'm not going to embarrass myself. From Enfusion, who's also a very good champion. Fast and powerful combo strikes for Muhammad. Donovan Weiss is very good. I like him a lot in that matchup. I don't want to say that I'm just picking the Glory guys, but the Glory guys are sharp. They're, if they've been in the organization this long, they are a sharp bunch. We also had welterweight. Now, something that you and I had talked about is officially vacant. They no longer have their former welterweight champion there. Apparently, he's gone to MMA full time, and he's no longer the champion. So I just put Hamicha because he's, they can put the belt on him. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's either going to be him or it's going to be Nabiov.
Man, make them fight. This is set it up already. I don't know why Glory is sitting on their hands so much. They don't even have an event announced at this point. Guys, get this fight in the books.
Yeah.
I know.
I think the Dutch thing ruined it because I remember last year, rumor was, I think their first show was supposed to be, I want to say next month. And it was supposed to be February. So, but I think this thing with the doping kind of messed it up. So now they're probably thinking about where it is that they can do shows at.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, hopefully they get it done soon because we are hungry for kickboxing content. 77 kilograms, Hamicha versus Andy Semler of Enfusion. Great matchup. Andy Semler is a heavy-handed style, fast hands, very boxing heavy. I find him versus Hamicha, he's a power puncher. This guy all around is a power striker. I love Hamicha. He's awesome, right? I mean,
I was gonna say Andy Semler, man. He kind of flip flops because he does fight at 170 or 77 kilos. Also, too, he has fought at 70 kilos as well, and he's even fought at 72.5 kilos, which is what the 160, I think, 160 pounds. I've seen him kind of go up and down because to me, I think it's just there's nobody really there, so he kind of just goes all over.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jumping all over the place. Andy Semler, yeah, he's kind of fought all over the place. He's a name, right?
I'd be down for it. I'd like to see him either way. I mean, another person, he's not a champion in Enfusion, but I would love to see Nordin Ben Mo fight, somebody in Glory or in Rise. Because I mean, that dude, like to me still, man, my favorite fight in kickboxing in recent years is Nordin Ben Mo versus Muhammad Jarrah. That fight was a banger, man. Just going back and forth. Like every time I see clips of that fight, I'm like, man, that fight was amazing.
I'll put the link down below for everybody, so that way we get everybody can enjoy this lovely fight. And when we get a push Enfusion, we're almost as famous as Enfusion here in America. We're at the same level. And the last one is Tiffany Van Soest would fight Sarah De Jong at 60 kilograms for women's fighting. So there's only 5 weight classes in which they actually cross over with each other. The other ones either have vacant titles or they haven't bothered actually having a weight class. RISE is a little bit on the lighter side. They compete a little bit better with like one championship, in all honesty, of like their champions would match up a little bit better. Infusion, a little bit mixed here and there, but a little bit heavier and match up really well with Glory champions. So we will see what Glory Rivals does in the future. But as things develop, we're definitely going to be on top of it.
I was going to say, the kickboxer, man, I follow her now too. Kana, she's in K1, right?
Kana, what's the full name?
Man, I don't even know her full name. I feel like she just goes by Kana.
Kana, yeah. I'll look her up.
I feel bad. I'm about to go look her up because I'm like, yeah, I follow her, but it's like, of course, always in Japanese.
Kana Morimoto. Here. Kana, yeah. I think that's her. Yeah, she is in K1. Yeah, she competes in K1. Yeah.
No, because I just saw a photo of her actually and Tiffany Van Soest. They were training together. You know, but I was thinking because I know a while back, Kana was calling out Anissa Meskin at the time when Anissa Meskin was still Glory champion. Even though they're friends, she was like, "Yo, I know we're friends, but I still want to knock you out." You know,
yeah.
But hey, you know, it's one of those things where to me it's like, I mean, to me especially with women's kickboxing, to me they need to mix it up because they don't have that much, especially too with Anissa Meskin leaving Glory to go to one, and then in one she's only had one fight. She hasn't fought because all the other girls in one aren't in her weight division. She fights at 122. She's calling out girls who fight at 105, 115. I'm like, they're not in your division though. I'm a fan of yours in this Mexican. I still think you're like the best or second best because I still like Jarena Bars as my number one female kickboxer. But it's just one of those things where to me I feel like the women maybe could be the ones who really need the mix or should I say the infusion.
This guy jokes for days. But no, you're absolutely correct that some of these weight classes are so thin that if they do have crossover weight classes, I kind of wish that they didn't, or they would mix the weight classes, because if you have a handful in this weight class and a handful in that weight class in a different organization, there's so few depth. There's so little depth that you shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, we want to see them all compete as viewers, we're greedy. We want to see them all compete in the same organization because we want to see them fight each other. But especially in women's kickboxing and women's Muay Thai, there's so little depth that there's not enough to go around. Like you said, they're calling out other people in other people's weight class. And if you ever wonder of what is the status of women's kickboxing, go find a female kickboxer and try to find her record for me. I've written about female kickboxers before and can't find any information on women who are fighting sometimes in one, sometimes in Glory. You can't find any records on these people at all. It's like we're writing about mixed martial arts in 1995. Like, find me a record online of let me find you a random name here.
I mean, you could find Jarena Bars, but that's because she's been around. She's been popular promotions.
Sure. Yeah. And there's a few that you could find their records, but Momi, she's fought on a few different cards. Go find me a Momi record. There's examples like this where I'm writing about them. I'm like, oh, what did you do before one? There's nothing about this at all. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because even like Jarena Bars, saying I say I'm a fan of hers. Even her in one, in my head, I don't want this to be a one bashing or anything like that. But
love one. One is my favorite.
But I just know a lot of people always talk about, one's a spot. To me, I think it is for certain divisions. But to me, if you're a female fighter and you're maybe of a heavier weight, I probably wouldn't go to one, because I think about Jarena Bars. She went there. She had her one fight. She lost it. She asked for the rematch. Never got it. Then she said, okay, I'll fight anybody else. Never got it. What did she end up doing? She had to go back to Lion Fight to get a fight again. So and that's just because I think Lion Fight will get her more fights. They will find more girls of her weight class for her to fight, while one just has you sitting around. I mean, we just talked about Nissa Meskin. She signed 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, because it's 2022, and then what? She just had her first fight last year. And now again, she's asking who's next. And it's girl, you might be waiting. You might be waiting another 2 years over here, for your fight. So that's why I'm just like, yeah, man, like one can be good for you if you're maybe a 70 kilo, 154 with their tournament that they just had. But I mean, if you're, I don't know, Nikki Holskin, he's kind of been waiting, it's one of those things where it's just like, to me, depending on where you are, you might not get the fights that you want.
Yeah, I wish one championship. Same with Glory. Like, pick up your pace a little bit. We want to see these people fight a little bit more. There's no reason that you have Adrina Barrs fighting in 2019 and then nothing. Like, and that's it. Like, there's other people in this weight class. Please set them up. She's just floating around, and she's super good kickboxer too. Really good record.
Like, that's to me, like that's why I think like this whole cross promotion is good for kickboxing, because then to me it just gives people more fights. It can keep people more active. I mean, at least I know with Glory, like I don't know if one does it, but at least I know what Glory would be if there was something like near you, like local to you, and you wanted to fight on that card, they'll let you, because this way you'll stay active. They just have to sign off on it. But I don't know if other promotions will do that. But I just think I just think Glory Rivals will be good, because like I said, I think it'll be more eyes. I think you'll get because like remember, we know back in the day of the K1 days, man, Japanese kickboxing was where it was at.
That's the spot. It's K1. So, that's where the kickboxing happened. Was K1.
So that's why I think just bringing Rise back into the picture of Japan. You mix in the Glory, where Glory does have pull in the U.S. in Europe. They see that, then maybe they get more eyes on the Japanese fighters, and then the Japanese fans, they get more eyes on the European, maybe North American fighters. They bring people over. I mean, hey, I think a guy like a Josh Johnson, man, I think he would thrive in Japan. I think the people will like him. He does have charisma, and that's really what the Japanese fans like. They like big personalities, and I think you bring a Rico Verhoeven over, Plaza Bot, man, he would freaking be a god over there, man. Like they be throwing panties and flowers at that guy, man. I'm saying, like you think about it, man. Bob Sapp, the dude can't fight, but he's just a big dude, and the dude had a bobblehead and all this stuff like that. Like, I think Plaza Bot, man, if we went over there, let him talk, let them translate it, dude. The fans would be going wild for that guy.
I completely agree with you. It does feel like, I'm glad that they're working together, and just like you said, it feels like we were always, kickboxing wasn't working to its full potential. Like K1 was where it's at, and I wish it kind of still was, that there was like one great organization, but like there was a rise and fall in Japan of combat sports. There's nothing you could do about it, no matter what we try. There was good and bad parts to it. But yeah, bring over some of these great heavyweights. Someone like, man, you could put Gokhan Saki still in Japan. He is still a name. He's still a household name. He was fighting in Japan when he was 23, and he fought in K1 for like a decade, and he's still arguably just outside of his prime, but he can still headline cards no matter where he goes in the world. Antonio Plazabat just knocking guys out, and he's massive, and he's great. Jamal Ben Sadiq is the biggest guy in the world. He's like 6'7". Get these guys going over there. It'd be awesome to see. Let me see who else. Yeah. Now there's a bunch of guys that just like, man, get these guys going in Japan. I've been arguing for a while that with RIZIN and the Tokyo Dome from last year, that there might be a small, just like little bump back into getting combat sports into the mainstream back in Japan. I don't know what it looks like on the ground in Japan, but from the outside looking in, it looks like Japan is starting to find its footing again in terms of combat sports. So if you're going to start going there, maybe now's kind of a good time, but maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it always was big. Maybe it's never going to be big again.
Yeah, I mean, because I just remember Glory just did one show in Tokyo. I think it was maybe Glory 13, and they kind of never came back. And I kind of thought like Japan was going to be part of their rotations, but maybe they didn't have the success that they wanted, or maybe K1 and Rise were like, yo, this is our territory. Go elsewhere, but. Who knows? But like I said, I'm just glad that Rise is open. Hey, you never know, man. To me, if you get something like this going on, it might have K1 maybe get open to the idea, and we can just get more people into the fold like this.
Man, this whole show, we've been cross-promotion from the very first story. K1 working with RIZIN, and now we got RISE working with Glory and Enfusion. Absolutely love to see it. Let's get these fighters, the best in the world, working together, growing the sport of kickboxing. Man, let's get it done already. So later on, we should have Enfusion and Lion Fights. It looks like Lion Fights won't be back until way off in March, which will be in my backyard. Maybe I'll go to that one. Maybe I'll be covering that one live. We can have some, get some new interviews of these bad boys, see what's going on there. Later on this month, we're going to be back 2 weeks from now, January, let's say the 26th is the next time we'll do a show here. And let's cover off RISE 154 and KRUSH 133, which looks like we'll be covering post-event and pre-event for KRUSH 133. And that is that for now. Anything else we want to say before we get out of here? Anything else I forgot about, Mr. Cuttino?
I was going to say, when is the... When's the next one with the semifinals? Yeah, that's January 14th, right? Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters is that the? I think a lot of it got pushed because yesterday there were 16 fights on the card and today there's 8.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I know there was the kickboxing fight of, I want to say Aziv and I guess I want to say Giannis. I'm just gonna go by his first name. I'm not gonna say his last name. And then of course there was a Muay Thai fight of Supergirl. She was supposed to be fighting January 14th.
Yeah, so everything that's remaining,
because there's a good amount of more there's like 3 kickboxing fights on here. Really.
We should have the Roman fight, which was for the light heavyweight title, is off the card. We also had Isiev.
As I said, Isiev and Giannis, they were fighting a kickboxing, and then they had the Muay Thai fight of Supergirl, and then you had the other Muay Thai fight of Tawanchi and Sempech.
Yeah, Tawanchi and Sempech is still on it. Bantamweight Muay Thai, that one's still on it. And I think we also have Supergirl versus Van der Riva, and then we have Babylet Isiev versus Straffordis, and I think that's it for kickboxing and Muay Thai on this card. Most of the light heavyweight title fight got bumped on it. Gotcha.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Supergirl in action though.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I think she fought once last year and lost to Jackie Buntan, and now she has a chance against Ekaterina to get back. I expect her to get back into the win column in this fight. I think that's a good fight for her. I don't know Isaev and Straffordis well off the top of my head, but Sempech versus Tawanchai, that could be a main event fight right there. That's a great fight right there. I absolutely love that one. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, man, it should be a banger. Like I said, I mean, especially when you're going by one name. You usually guys with one name, they kind of got some skills.
Yeah, you have to earn your name. That's actually right. Right? Yeah, if you're in a kickboxing match and your opponent has one name, just call it there.
That's it.
Anything else we need to cover off? Because we got some other stuff coming up later this month, which we'll be back for. Brandon, anything else you got to say to the people?
Hey, man, guys. Hey, it's a new year. Spread the word, man. Let's get kickboxing going. Just like how we said, we want Glory, RISE and Enfusion to do, man. Cross promote, help out. Hey, guys, listen, share, tell your friends. You guys like kickboxing. Let them know, man. If you train at a gym, tell all your teammates, like, subscribe, spread the word, and hey, get some merch, baby. Get my merch. Get the show's merch. Kicking It. You can get it all at FightersFirst.shop. All right.
Links will be down below. Make sure to check out the shirts. It's some absolutely awesome stuff. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Twitters. We'll always have links for this stuff as well. And later this month, it slipped my mind, but yes, the Featherweight Kickboxing Grand Prix is back with one, Only the Brave, on January 28th. So the next time we sit down, we'll be doing
it.
That's absolutely right.
I get to go with my picking skills again, hopefully.
Man, this guy, absolutely ridiculous on your picks, and you nailed each one. Yeah. This one we have Merrick Gregorian versus Shingiz Alazov and City Chai versus David Curia. Oh, just absolutely love it. So we'll be back later this month to cover off these great events. Folks, thanks for coming with us. My name is Tim Wheaton. He is Brandon Cuttino. Thank you so much, folks.